That's not making me big, huh? Usually it's really big.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning,
Hi,
yes.
good morning. Is your last name Benton?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you're scheduled at 8:30, so I'm just gonna leave you right where you are for about another 10 minutes, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry, you were breaking up. I'm sorry, what was that?
You're scheduled at 8:30, so I'm just going to leave you right where you are.
8:30?
Yes.
Oh, well, they said to go 15 minutes early.
Yep, you're good. So just mute yourself and the judge will be right out.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, there we go. It's on mute. Oh, maybe because until they get here.
Yeah, if you could just keep yourself muted, please.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, yep.
Thank you.
Uh,
Good morning, Ms. Greer.
Good morning, Judge. How are you this morning?
I am wonderful. It is a pleasure to hear your voice.
It's always good to see you.
You popped on last week and you were gone before I got a chance to say hello and check in with you.
Yes, I'm just checking to see if you have violators today.
I do not have violators today. I just have sentencing.
Okay, madam. Then I will pop off.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a great week, okay?
You too. Thank you, Judge. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Bye.
Mr. McCarty,
Yes, Your Honor.
this is 2108780D. This is City of Romulus versus Cynthia Ray Benton.
And good morning, Your Honor. Attorney Jeff McCarty, P 42633, appearing with on behalf of Ms. Benton for the purpose of sentencing via Zoom and without objection, Judge.
Thank you, ma'am. Would you state your name for me, please? You're muted.
There we go. Cynthia Benton.
Thank you. Mr. McCarty, you received a copy of the sentence recommendation from our probation department.
I did, Judge, and I find it to be factually accurate. And so at least in that respect, I have nothing to add nor delete there too.
Thank you, sir. Is there anything you'd like to say on behalf of your client before this court imposes sentence?
Well, Judge, I think the report and assessment and recommendation kind of says it all. I find it to be thoughtful and thorough, quite frankly. And I certainly agree with the recommendation by probation, and I'm hoping Your Honor and urging Your Honor to adopt that.
Thank you. The court has reviewed the recommendation from the probation department along with the police report in this matter. There was also a statement that this court received from Mansour Kasem, who was involved in this accident, who requested, I'm sorry, it's a better word, requested restitution for damages in the amount of $6,500, but there was no proof of that, so the court will not award restitution in that matter. And also, Mr. William Robinson was requesting $2,000 for the car that was totaled, plus $4,000 that he used, that he borrowed from family and friends, it sounds like, to pay for a new car. But there was incomplete documentation submitted to the court for the court to make a firm order of restitution, saying this so that Ms. Benton is aware that both of these individuals may engage civil means to recover their losses from you. So court is not imposing any type of restitution order at this time. As Mr. McCarty has indicated, the recommendation from the probation department is thorough and complete, and the court will adopt it in its entirety. Ms. Benton, your sentence with this court will be as follows. There will be a $300 fine, $300 in costs, $50 mandatory state costs, $75 crime victims fee, $200 restitution to the city of Romulus, $20 fund fee. You will complete 24 hours of community service at a nonprofit organization within the next 6 months and provide documentation of that to the court's probation department. You will be fingerprinted at the Romulus Police Department within 30 days of today's date. The court has signed an order for fingerprints. Probation department has indicated that you should not be placed on probation, and the court will not place you on probation. So other than those fines and costs, which total $945 in the community service, fingerprinting, that is the court's complete and total sentence in this matter. Mr. McCarty, anything else from your perspective?
No, Your Honor, I thank you.
Anything else, Ms. Benton?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Please be in touch with the court's probation department for the fingerprinting and to establish a payment plan for your fines and costs. Other than that, ma'am, good luck to you.
Thank you
Thank-
very much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Have a good week.
You too. Do I
Yeah, hang up.
hang up? Okay. All right.
So just put
I sent him a note. I mean, I sent him a chat, but I don't even think he can get a chat. Do you want me to remove him?
Did you before, or had you just put him back in the waiting room? Because I saw him disappear for a
Yeah,
second.
I removed him.
Oh. Yes, please remove him.
Okay.
Ugh. Because clearly he's been on before because
When they try to sign on, do they have any indicator that, like what's in front of our screen right now, it says he's trying to connect to the audio. Does he see the same thing we see?
yes,
Okay, so he knows that he's not
it might
connected.
not be the exact same, but it's very close. But
Okay,
if you, I was gonna say, I know that he's done it before because we took the plea. And it might be, Mary Ann,
Yes.
I just sent you the phone number that we have on our file. Would you give him a call? Because maybe he doesn't know what's happening.
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, boy. Good morning, Mr. Young.
Morning, Your Honor. I apologize for the delay here. User error on my side. These,
I see that you had some of the best help in Sumter.
well, we can have that debate.
Thank you, Your Honor. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
We can have that discussion at a later date. That requires confidentiality, but in any event, here we are. Is Mr. Plaza with us or?
I have not seen him as of yet. It's only 9:04 by my clock,
Was it John Plaza?
and I usually
Honor,
allow it till about 9:15.
Mr. Plaza is on the phone with Peter Gregory right now. Would the court like us to have a conversation with him and then get back in?
I'd appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
gotta
you.
get it on
All right, thank
record. Judge Martin is waiting.
Good morning, Mr. Smith.
Oh, good morning, Judge.
How are you, sir?
Good. I'm here on Bianca Alvarez, but I'm not quite sure what time.
10 o'clock.
Okay, then I'm a little early. But I do need the pre-sentence report. Can they email that to me?
Let me pull the file out. Oh, Mr. Smith, Ms. Alvarez advised our probation department on March 22nd that you were no longer representing her.
Well, I don't think she can just do that unless another attorney is substituted in.
We have not received information that there is a, I'm sorry. She requested MIDC attorney, and Samir Jadala is now listed as the attorney of record on this file. I'm looking for, I don't see a substitution of attorney on here in the actual court file. I don't see a substitution of attorney. What I see is that notation that as of March 22nd, she had released you. And Mr. Jadala was added as the attorney of record on March 31st.
Okay, well then I
So
don't have
I'm
to.
not sure if you want to show back up at 10 o'clock or I'll call the probation department, have them send you a copy of the PSI, but I don't know what's going on.
I don't know either. But you know what? I'll call her and then I guess if I can go through that. And then if she still wants me to be released, that's fine with me. So
Okay.
I'll call her now and review that report with her.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Stevens. Mary Ann, you have to unmute him. I have no controls out here.
Yep, I'm trying to, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor.
This is 1401870D. This is the City of Romulus versus Guy Wayne Stevens. Would you state your name for me, please, sir?
Guy Wayne Stevens.
Thank you. Thank you for being persistent in getting your audio connected this morning. Today is the day and time set for sentencing in this matter. This case arised with an offense date of December 21st, 2013. You appeared in front of this court on January 20th, 2022, entered a plea of guilty to the reduced count of operating while visibly impaired, the driving while license suspended, the drug crime counts were dismissed. This court sent you to the probation department for interview and sentence recommendation. Mr. Stevens, have you received that recommendation, sentence recommendation from the probation department?
Yes, I have, Your Honor.
Did you have a chance to review it, sir?
Yes, I have.
I'm sorry?
I have, Your Honor.
Was it factually accurate?
Uh,
Mr.
no.
Stevens, I'm sorry, I'm losing you. Mr. Stevens? So close. Mr. Young, was Mr. Plaza, did you have your conversation with him already?
He's supposed to be attempting to log in, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you,
That,
sir.
all right.
Mr. Stevens?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm
That's
sorry for
better.
that. I don't-
Wonderful.
I even went and bought a brand new phone for this right now, everything. I don't.
Mr. Stevens, don't apologize. As long as you're connected, at some point, we can have our conversation. That's sufficient for this court. I was
Okay.
asking, has you had a chance to review the information from the probation department?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Was there anything that you wanted to add or any corrections you thought were necessary?
There was just a couple things that I'd have liked to had corrected on there. Like I didn't agree to having no blackouts or nothing like that. But I just simply was saying that I have, after work I might have 2 or 3 beers, but that's it.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Well, sir, this court has had the opportunity to review the probation department's recommendation. Made a notation on here that you deny having blackouts. Other than that, there is the recommendation from the probation department that this is your second drinking and driving offense, but they recommend that you not be placed on probation. The court will adopt that and not place you on probation. Will assess a fine of $300, cost of $200. There's mandatory $75 crime victims fee, $50 state costs, a bench warrant fee of $50, $50 late fee, $20 fund fee, a $45 clearance fee. There was a request for restitution to the city of Romulus for $150. The court is not going to impose that at this time. This is a 9-year-old case. And you were pretty straightforward when you appeared here back in January. They also requested you be placed on 60 to 90-day alcohol monitor at your expense. The court is not going to impose that. It will just be those fines and costs that we just discussed.
And, excuse me, Your Honor, and it would still, be what, 120 to the state of Michigan?
120 what? I don't know what you're referring to.
I thought I seen that on there. It was, $120 to the state of Michigan.
Mr. Stevens, if you can direct me where you see that amount, I see 150 to the city of Romulus. I don't see 100.
Okay. Maybe I misread it somewhere else then. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm going back to look at the report. I don't see that on here.
I'm afraid to go back and look at it, touch my phone. I don't want to mix up the connection.
Well, Mr. Stevens, that's a total of $790. My question to you is, are you able to pay that amount within the next 7 days?
I can pay everything in full on the 14th when I get paid.
On the
At my
14th?
job, I get paid I get paid every 2 weeks at my job. So the 14th is the next time I get paid. And that's a Thursday.
Okay. What I'll do, sir, is I'll say 30 days. It's May 4th, 2022. And what you'll be able to do is either go online and pay it, mail it into the court, or if for some reason we get to that May 4th date and you haven't been able to pay it, call and set a payment plan or go onto our website and there's a contact us button that you can drop down and submit a request for a payment plan, okay?
So when I just want to make sure I have this all cleared. So when I get paid, I could call the courts and pay off all them, like, because I'm paying you guys all those fines right through the court, right?
Correct.
Okay. That makes that easier too.
And if after today, after the conclusion of this hearing, you have any questions, you can either contact the probation department, or on the court's website, you can submit an email with whatever question you have about how to proceed in this matter, okay?
Your Honor, after I pay my fines, will I be able to get my license back?
Is this the only thing that's holding you up with your license?
Yes.
Fines
This is
and
my
costs,
last
yep,
thing.
you'll get your clearance and you'll be able to get your license if this is the only thing.
All right.
Anything else, Mr.
Been a
Stevens?
long time coming. I can't wait, man. Oh, I can't wait.
Well, good luck to you, sir. You have a wonderful week, okay?
Thank you. You too, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Plaza does not have audio as of yet.
So we think he has his mute on.
You said what?
So he's got mute on. He doesn't know how to call him up. Tell him he's got to.
I don't think you can call in.
It's not mute, it's no audio connected.
Well, he didn't hit that. When we come on, we have to say yes. Toth can lip read. He's a great detective. So if you want him to do that, we can. Text him maybe and just say.
Hey, you're muted. We don't hear you. We can't hear you.
I love that you all are helping him get connected.
We're working on having him disconnected, but right now we have to go through the
hush.
process. What's it say?
If you call them, I don't know if it'll go through.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't know if texting will go through either. You'd have to like hold up a sign, John Plaza,
Yeah.
turn on your audio. Call his phone to see if it even goes through. Because I think once you're on Zoom, your phone is,
Busy.
yeah, it won't work. So you texting him won't work.
John, listen, you're muted. You're muted. You got to turn on, you got to accept so we can hear you. We can't hear you, okay? We can only see you. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, go back in and see.
Back out.
You may have to
Back out
start over.
and start in again, okay? That way, make sure you hit the yes for Mike.
Hello?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
Mr. Plaza, very good. I am able to hear you,
I'm
sir.
sorry, I'm illiterate with these phones, Your Honor.
It's okay. This is 21U168384OM. This is Sumter Township versus John Andrew Plaza. Would you state your name for me, please, sir?
John Andrew Plaza.
Thank you.
Robert Young, Sumter Township, Your Honor.
Thank you. Today is the day and time set for sentencing in this matter. Mr. Plaza, you had a chance to speak to Mr. Young and Mr. Gregory?
No, I haven't, Your Honor.
Oh, I thought you were on the phone with him, Mr. Young. Would you like to go into a breakout room to discuss this matter?
Your Honor, we'll do as the court directs. If I may just bring the court up to date as to where we're at, if that's okay. We appeared before Your Honor some time ago on a trial. You listened to both the township position and Mr. Plaza's position, and you found him guilty on the violation of the blight ordinance. If you recall, we had delayed the sentence for a period of time to allow Mr. Plaza to try and remove the blighted condition from his property. We represented to the court that we would contact Republic and try to get as many dumpsters as we could out there to help them because the property was in horrendous shape. If you recall some of the pictures, it was something that nobody should be required to live by, near, or even have in their community. In any event, I think there's a total of 4 dumpsters that were put on the property, or 3, I'm sorry. And so when it came close to the time for sentencing, which was about 45 days out from the trial date, Mr. Plaza indicated he couldn't make it because his equipment had broken down and it delayed him. The court was gracious enough to give him some extra time. And this has been delayed. Now, Peter Gregory, who's the ordinance officer, is sitting to my right, and he's prepared to let the court know what the condition of the property is. But just to put it in a nutshell, it's the same or worse than it was when we appeared before the court for trial originally. And we've had the property reviewed. Mr. Gregory's had extensive conversations with Mr. Plaza, and I don't know where to go here with this, but that's where we're at. And if the court wants my recommendation, once you've heard from Mr. Plaza, I'd be more than happy to give it to you. If you'd like to hear from Mr. Gregory, he's available.
I would like to hear from both Mr. Gregory and Mr. Plaza. My notes originally indicated that there might have been someone interfering with Mr. Plaza's ability to clean the property. And then after we were here back in December, Sumter Township agreed some time to allow Mr. Plaza to make some remediation to the debris or materials that were on the property. I understood that the
District
township
Court.
was
Is
going to help.
Victoria available?
So where are we now, Mr. Gregory?
Well, Your Honor, Mr. Plaza his property is not in much better shape at all than it was before. It's probably in worse shape. He's been trying to smash up all these travel trailers and things, but his front loader, as far as I know, at least 3 to 4 weeks has been down. So he hasn't been able to, the third dumpster that's been there, he hasn't put much in it. The property is just from the front porch all the way to the front yard, the side yards, the backyard is still just scattered everywhere. It's not nearly even close to compliance. And oh yeah, also I believe possibly some of the stuff from the inside of the house was also put into those dumpsters, which the dumpsters were primarily for outside use, for all the blight on the outside, which would fill up plenty of the dumpsters that we've already supplied and more. Yet I believe from what I've seen, stuff coming out of the front door, all over the porch, then that stuff's put in the dumpster too. So, and there was quite a lot of stuff in the house as well, but that wasn't part of the agreement. So the outside is still in bad shape. Yeah, it's very, very bad.
Mr. Plaza,
Yes, ma'am.
is there anything you want to say to the court before Mr. Young makes his recommendation?
Yes, the ordinance officer was here Friday. We did, I was able to get a hold of Davies. We do work with Davies Tree Service also. They were doing some trimming around these electrical lines, and I do them a lot of favors when they have a bunch of wood that they have to dump or something. We have 40 acres here now, not just 5, but we have 40 with the adjoining property to me. They come here Friday night, dropped off 2 pieces of equipment. We smashed both of those RVs, what they're speaking of, and we cleaned up the whole side all the way up to the back of the house. The front of the house is done. The side of the house is just barely almost done. There was a cement pad there that you could see clearly now. I wish I could take a picture of it and then I could show the ordinance officer, because there's no RVs here that are what they're talking about. Now, as far as the inside, they're bagging inside. They're not throwing anything out of that inside, out of the house, because it was my mother's 40. We lived here 40 years, Your Honor. And there's so much stuff that my mom had up in the attics and this and that, and in closets that were bagging up. I mean, Isn't it unheard of to have 4 dumpsters already? I mean, really? Now, I begged them. I says, please, if you see somebody dumping on my property, please just write them the ticket for dumping. I begged them to do that. This was a long time ago. And this didn't stop. It just kept going. And then there was a couple times that somebody had said that, well, if you clean it up, not me, the ones that they saw dumping, if you clean it up, I'll go take you to dinner. And that was, I caught that later. And I mean, just the front of my house is 180 foot wide. The bit to the back of the port or to the back of the house is probably 110 feet. There was an RV that was right there, right next to my house. That's gone. We smashed that down over the weekend. There was another RV that was behind the house. That's gone. That's smashed now. There's only 2 dirt piles. We had to go get a sifter because there was so much clothes that they dumped on my property that I didn't do. They dumped on my property that they have to sift out of the dirt. You have to get a special piece of equipment to do this, or you dump dirt into the dumpsters with the product that they're talking about that's in the dirt. I went and got a sifter this weekend that we went through the dirt just to get the clothes and debris out of it. And if you come down here right now, I mean, if the ordinance, if you gave him just about 10 minutes to come here, he'll say, oh my God, you know, because the 2 RVs are gone. That he's talking about right now. There's none there. And then we're just going through 2 piles in the back. There's only 2 piles that in the small piles, they're 8 foot, 7 foot high. And we sifted through that already. I have this dumpster filled up. That's why I was calling him. And lucky I did, because I wouldn't have showed up to court because I thought it was on the 14th, man, to be honest with you. I even said that to him. I thought they had joined the boy together. And I'm sorry for being that. I'm just glad I called because I wouldn't have showed up today because I thought the blight ticket was going with Judge Oakley with something else. And that's my story.
You do have another blight ticket, sir, on the 14th, and that might be scheduled with Judge Oakley, but this is
well, this is a continuation of the blight. Yes, Your Honor.
Well,
I mean, it's on her.
And Mr. Plaza, that's the thing, and that's what I tell people, that even though you have a blight ticket that is in the process with me, and we resolve, well, it was resolved with the trial, and now we have the sentencing. The township can always issue another blight ticket if you have not, if the blight is ongoing. Sumter might issue another ticket, and I believe that that's what happened because here we are. But if there was another ticket issued after you started with me, that means that the matter has not been addressed. This original ticket for this case from this morning is April 12, 2021. And before you were issued a citation by Officer Gregory, I'm sure there had been some conversation, some notice, and some warning. But that being the case, and us having had trial, Sumter allowing some time for you to remedy the blight, because it's not about fining you, and it's about compliance. And if Sumter ordinance has been specific with you and saying this is what we need you to do and you haven't done it, we're here. So for purposes of sentence, before Mr.
I know, I understand what
too
you're saying.
far away, Mr. Young, what's your recommendation in this case?
Your Honor, with the situation the way it is, and I don't know if the court recalls, but it's probably the biggest blight violation that I've dealt with in 32 years. I know Mr. Plaza. I go back a lot of years. I like Mr. Plaza. However, we're under a tremendous amount of pressure. I've got the chief of police in the room with us right now because he receives numerous calls. This place is just, quite frankly, a trash house. It's horrible. My request is for the sentencing to be as follows: 90 days in jail, 1 year probation.
Wait, you said 90 days in jail.
90 days in jail, 1 year probation. The jail sentence can be stayed pending his last chance effort to get the place cleaned up. If he's making the progress that he just told the court he was making, then he should be in a position to satisfy the request of the township. And we'll follow it up with monthly reports to the court with pictures and videos. But we have to do something other than just keep issuing him tickets and fines. It's not working. So that's my request. I don't look to have anybody incarcerated. The court knows that, but I don't know at this point what else to say or do. And at that point, it's in his hands as to what ultimately happens. That's my request.
And before you respond, Mr. Plaza, the court's question, Mr. Young, is if he's under the probation, if he's under oversight with this court for this ticket, would that resolve the April 14th ticket with Judge Oakley, since we're talking about the same property, same issue?
Yeah, I mean, again, like you so accurately indicated, we just want compliance. I mean, if there's 3 more tickets out there that we issue over the next 2 weeks, if we get compliance, they all get dismissed. We don't want money. We're not asking for a fine. We don't want to live together. All we want is for him to clean up his property.
Yes. I agree with that, Your
Is
Honor.
the township requesting any reimbursement for the dumpsters that were provided?
No, because those were provided graciously from Republic, free of charge. We are
Okay.
able to get that once in a while. So we've gone the extra mile with Mr. Plaza, but he hasn't done the same in return.
Mr. Plaza,
Yes.
you have any
No.
comment about the request made by Mr. Young?
Yes. Yeah, just, and I love them all there. They know that. And they know it wasn't me that did all this. And for him to give a recommendation right like that, that's okay. I understand where the thing is. Now you got 40-yard dumpsters, Your Honor, and you got an area that's 180 foot wide by 120 long. And just think of that. It was like 40-yard dumpsters. That's how much stuff they dumped here. Now, the only thing I would say is I wanted them to shut down. Somebody had applied for a sale. You have to go for, when you have a yard sale, you go get a ticket, from the township. They issued a ticket for them to have a yard sale here. Why that blight was here. And when my guys went to go clean it up, they spread clothes all over this place to have a yard sale that they issued themselves. And I asked them not to do that. And Gregory, the ordinance officer, said that he would take care of that he'd make sure that they would not give and I only asked that because that's what really put us back was when they had a yard sale here and they brought I probably 500 bags here of clothes to put out and left them. And that's what happened here. But just think of it. I mean, it's only 180 wide by 120 foot long. And I've already moved. And if I could take a picture of this dumpster right now, I filled this one up this weekend with the right machinery that we need to get, because the machinery I have, I would only pick up dirt and the clothes that were in the dirt. We had to go get a sifter. It's a special kind of bucket that you have to get to go through dirt to get debris out of it. And I got it this weekend. And then that's what I thought I had till the 14th. I didn't even know about this. I thought this ticket was moved to the 14th with Judge Oakley. And I thought I had till the 14th, and we would have been compliant by the 14th here. If Gregory would come here and take the pictures today, he would say, oh my God, because the 2 RVs are gone, the ones that he's talking about. I moved them out of here and we smashed one of them. And that's what most of this debris was the one RV that we smashed. And then we only had 2 piles to dig through that you have to have a special sifter to go through the dirt. And the only one that had it was my friend from Davies, and he brought his machine. He just bought one for $65,000. That's what it costs for these machines to do it the right way. And the other machines I have that we own would not do it the right way because I was throwing dirt in there. I was filling up the dumpsters too fast. And then when he went through this and sifted everything, we'll be done by the 12th here, by the 11th maybe, with everything.
Mr. Plaza, the issue from this court's perspective is that we had trial back in December. And
Yes.
Mr. Young and Sumter Township offered assistance in resolving this matter. It's not resolved. There's a new citation issue. The court is not going to adopt Mr. Young's recommendation. We'll go somewhere in between. This court's going to
Okay.
impose a fine of $300, cost of $200. There's crime victims of $75, state costs of $50, fund fee of $20. That's $645. This court is going to put you on 6 months of non-reporting probation.
Okay,
During this probationary period, Mr. Young or Mr. Gregory, Officer Gregory, will continue to inspect the property.
okay,
And, okay, I'm keeping you
Yes.
on the 6 months non-reporting probation so that there aren't new citations issued, okay?
okay,
It's
yes,
about compliance, and at the end of the 6 months, if you've done what you're supposed to do, remove whatever Officer Gregory is directing you to remove from the property,
hmm
the court will find you've completed your probationary period and will resolve this case in its entirety. But if at 6 months and Mr. Young, Officer Gregory are still reporting that there are these issues, whatever this blight issue is, has not been resolved, all that's gonna happen is they're going to cite you again.
Okay.
You're gonna be
I understand, Your
discharged
Honor.
without improvement from probation. You'll be cited again, and Mr. Young and Officer Gregory will have every right to ask this court to move a lot more swiftly. on
No,
each
whoever dumps on my
citation-
property
on
from
each
now on, I'm
citation that
gonna
are
risk them
subsequently
myself.
issued, and if Mr. Plaza, the worst case scenario is that Sumter engages someone to come clean the property, and then you have a bill for whatever amount of money would be
Yes,
necessary to
I
remove the
know.
blight. So let's
Yeah.
not get there. If you've made all
Yes.
this progress since Friday, continue working on it, continue getting it cleaned up.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thanks, Rob.
Mr. Young, was there something else?
Just so I understand, so is it a term, is part of the probationary term and requirements is to clean up the property in the 6-month period to the satisfaction of the township? Is that what I understand the court's order to be? All
Yes,
right.
sir.
All right, and if there's a failure to do that, would the township be at liberty to petition the court to consider a violation of probation? Again, we would not do that unless it was a meaningful motion. We wouldn't do it just to be vindictive or punitive. We would have pictures, videos, and the like to present to the court. If we have that option, then I at least can report back to the board as to where we're at.
That is an option as a condition of the non-reporting probations that Mr. Plaza continue to make progress on the property. And if Officer Gregory has videos, pictures sufficient to show that not only is it not progress, that maybe there's some growth to the blight, the court would consider that a violation of probation, and Mr. Plaza will be subject to additional penalties and consequences.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. Plaza?
Yes, I just want to put on record that this stuff that was on my property, and they know it wasn't mine. And I'm doing my best, and I'm gonna clean it up. And I love the city of Sumter, and I'll do anything for them. They know that. And the only thing I ask them to do, if they see anybody dump bags or anything, write them the ticket this time, please, not me. Because they even knew
Understood.
who was dumping it.
Understood, Mr. Plaza. I'm sure Mr. Young and Officer Gregory hear you as well. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Alvarez.
Hello. Good morning.
You're a little bit early. You're not scheduled till 10 o'clock. We have some other matters pending.
Oh, okay.
So if you will
Alrighty,
mute
sorry.
yourself and sit tight, I'll get back to you shortly.
Alrighty.
Who is? Oh, observer. Okay.
Assuming.
Mr. Jadala,
Good morning, Your Honor. Just waiting for
how are
Mr.
you?
I am fine. I think I'm just waiting on Mr. Cutts to arrive for sentencing.
I'm here.
Your Honor, if we could have a brief breakout room.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Judge.
Good morning, Mr. Nunley.
Morning, Judge. I'm scheduled for a sentencing at 10:15. I have a friend of the court matter at 10. So I wanted to jump in a little early to see if it'd be okay if I happen to stumble in a couple minutes late.
Either a couple minutes, couple minutes late versus Ms. Downley coming early.
I guess I could call her and see if she's available.
No, Mr. Nunley, I'm here until 4 o'clock. So get back here with Ms. Downey after your friend of the court matter.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Mr. Taylor.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, sir. I have not seen Mr. Mays as of yet.
Okay, would you like me to text him?
If you would like to, because you're actually scheduled at 9:30, I would take you before these other later matters.
Okay, I'll send him a text. Thank you.
Thank you. That was fast, Mr. Jadala with Mr. Cutts.
Yes, we're ready, Your
Are
Honor.
you ready? This
Yes,
is
Judge.
201644 SM. This is State of Michigan versus Richard Cutts. May I have your appearances, please?
Your Honor, respectfully, Sam Richardala, P62186, appearing on behalf of Mr. Cutts. Your Honor, I've gone over the pre-sentence report with Mr. Cutts. There are no errors, omissions, corrections, or deletions. I've explained to Mr. Cutts that there's been a recommendation for 6 months probation, and that if he completes all the recommendations that this court imposes, he could be done in 3 months. He's desirous of doing so, Your Honor, and he's very confident he'll be able to do all the everything that's recommended within the 3 months.
Thank you. Mr. Cutts, state your name for the record, sir.
Richard Cutts.
Mr. Cutts, when we were last here, you wanted to say something to me at the end of the hearing, and Mr. Jadala cautioned you not to. I think in part because we had just finished the trial on this matter. Is there anything you want to say before this court imposes sentence?
Yeah, I just wanted to apologize for if you disrespecting your court, as you said. Like I said, Sunday through Tuesday, I definitely have my son. I don't consider him a distraction. I think he's about to walk in the room right now, but he was asleep at the time where I was, had terrible reception. So once you told me I could leave or turn my mic off, I definitely did drive to another location so I could hear the rest of the proceeding, because I was honestly skipping throughout my entire case with the reception that I had. But that was it. I just felt I was judged unfairly in the case. That was all.
Mr. Cutts, you don't need to apologize. I understand your passion on this matter. And it is an unfortunate situation. This court's not a fan of children hearing any part of these types of cases. And I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and I understood it when we were here back on March 14th. But as indicated, this court did sit on the trial in this matter, did review the police report and the pre-sentence report. Mr. Jadala indicated that he has explained to you that there is a recommendation for 6 months of probation. As long as you complete the other items requested by probation within 3 months, you can petition the court to be released from probation early. So Mr. Jadala, unless there's anything else, this court's prepared to impose sentence in this matter.
We are ready to proceed, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cutts, this court will adopt the recommendation of the probation department and put you on 6 months of probation. That will be $240 in oversight fees. There's $300 fine, $200 cost, $75 crime victim fee, $50 mandatory state cost, $20 fund fee, $150 restitution to the city of Romulus. You will be complete a 12-week anger management course and submit proof of completion of that to the probation department. There was a request from them that you not purchase, possess, consume alcoholic beverages or controlled substances during your probation without this court's approval. But nothing in the testimony and nothing in the report from the police department indicates that those were the issues at play that day.
I would agree, Your
So
Honor.
the court will not put that as a condition of your probation. And Mr. Cutts, that's a total of $1,035 from this court's math. You can contact the probation department to get enrolled in that 12 weeks of anger management and also to establish a payment plan in this matter.
I went down there the day of the verdict. I just got to go back down there. Is all you're saying?
You don't have to go. I mean, you can call and set it up with them.
Okay.
Is that what you mean?
Yes, because I already went down and got registered and everything with them. They were just waiting on the.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're saying you registered with anger management?
No. I didn't register with anger management. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
go back down there and do that?
Yes, Mr. Cutts.
Okay,
Anything else, sir?
no, thank you.
Good luck to you. Have a
Thank
good
Thank
week.
you. Thank you, Your Honor. May you and your staff have a wonderful day.
Mr. Giselle, you're not leaving yet.
Okay, where was I going? Where am I not going to?
I had you listed potentially on another case on Alvarez.
I did get an email on Alvarez and Judge, and I didn't have it scheduled today. I don't have a pre-sentence report. Is it a sentencing?
It is the sentencing, and Ms. Alvarez is here. She had retained counsel who has come on already this morning,
Okay,
Mr. Marvin Smith. But there's a notation in the file that she had discharged Mr. Smith and that the PSI was sent to you.
I did not receive a PSI, Judge. I only received Mr. Cutts' PSI for today.
Okay. So Marianne knows how to get a hold of you. We need to, because Mr. Smith came on anticipating representation in the sentencing.
Okay, and
We'll get it cleared up.
and it looks like I'm going to stay on regardless because I'm doing arraignments, Judge, and I think I've just been emailed for an arraignment.
Thank you, sir.
So I'm
I'll
just
see you
going.
later.
So I'm gonna stay on hold and hopefully they log on and I could do this that way. I'll call them and have them log on to Zoom.
Okay. Thank you. What is this McKenzie arraignment? I don't have.
Judge, I'm working on that one right now. I did go ahead and send the information to Attorney Jadala so that he can go ahead and speak with him,
Okay.
but I'm working on getting the file sent up.
Thank you, ma'am.
I did tell Attorney Adams, who is appearing on behalf of Attorney Simon for the first arraignment for sure, that you should already have the file for. I did let Mr. Adams know when he's finished speaking with his client to go ahead and leave the breakout room so that we knew that they were ready.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Jermaine Taylor.
Good morning, Mr. Taylor.
How are you? I'm doing fine.
I'm wonderful. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I have not been successful in getting in touch with William Mays. Do I need him present for sentencing? Would you recommend that he's here?
You do, because that's your retained counsel. And if you
Okay.
haven't been able to get a hold of him this morning, the court will reach out to him and see if he maybe. I was looking for your file. It's unlike Mr. Mays not to appear timely. He knows that this court starts on time.
Yeah.
If we cannot get a hold of him for some reason, sir, what we can do is reschedule. I would not ask you to proceed without your attorney unless that was some agreement that you had reached with Mr. Mays prior to today.
No.
Okay, so if you don't mind hanging on, muting yourself and hanging on, we'll see if we can get a hold of Mr. Mays and find out where he is.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good morning, Mr. Adams.
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you doing?
I am wonderful, sir. How are you?
Good, fine, thank you.
I'm just waiting for Romulus, for Huron to pop back out. And as soon as they do, we'll get your case called and get you on your way.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Smith.
Oh, good morning, Judge. You know what? I had a conversation with my client. We reviewed the pre-sentence report, so I will be representing him.
Thank you very much. I have an arraignment, an in custody arraignment, so if you would sit tight for a moment. Ms. Alvarez is here. As soon as we're done with the arraignment, we'll get her called and get you on your way.
Okay, thank you.
This is 220258FY, State of Michigan versus Raymond Carl Schur. Have your appearances, please.
Stephen Adams for Mr. Scherer. I'm standing in for Attorney of Record Joseph Simon.
State your name for me, please, sir. Yes, sir, you, in the black t-shirt.
Raymond Scherer.
Thank you. Today is the day and time set for the felony arraignment in this matter. Count 1, assault, dangerous weapon, felonious assault. Count 2, weapons, felony, firearm. Count 3, domestic violence. Mr. Adams, for purposes of arraignment, what say you, sir?
Your Honor, I'm sorry, but I don't, could you just tell me the alleged victim on the FA, is that the same as the alleged victim on the DV?
It is not. For the FA, it is Matthew Krakowiak, Krakowiak, and for the DV is Jordan Scheib.
Thank you very much. We'd waive any other reading of the complaint, stand mute to the charge, have a statement regarding bond.
There was attached to the front of the court's file petition in order for court-appointed attorney. The court has signed that, but would note that you have retained counsel. There is a recommendation from Huron Township that his bond be set at 10,000, 10%. There's a comment that there are still firearms registered to Mr. Scherer, but that are not in the police department's possessions. What say you as to that bond recommendation, Mr. Adams?
Well, Your Honor, if I could just give you a little background information regarding Mr. Scherer. He's 29 years old. He lives by himself half the time, and half the time he lives with his 2 children who are ages 2 and 4. And as I understand it, they're not the children of the domestic violence complainant. He works as a remodeler. Has done that for 7 years, lives in Huron Township, was working as recently as Friday in Wyandotte remodeling a kitchen, working under the general contractor Ace Kitchen and Bath. He has no criminal record. We don't have any objection to the business of do not go to orders or no contact orders. We would ask the court would advise the court that there's no allegation that I'm aware of that there was any firearm discharged or anything of that nature. So we would ask for a personal bond.
I'm sorry, Mr. Adams, you said there was no gun discharged?
That's what I said. Yes, that's my understanding from, but of course, I have not seen a police report.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt, Judge, but we need to go back in the breakout room. We got thrown out.
Marianne will move you back in there, sir. Mr. Adams, this court does have the criminal history. There's a little bit, not much, going back to 2006.
Judge, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it looks like Andy took everybody back in. So Mr. Adams is, there he is.
Hi.
Mr. Adams, this court will depart from the recommendation slightly, set his bond at 5,000, 10%. And he is to have no contact with the complainants in this case, that being Matthew, last name Krakowiak, and Jordan, last name Scheib. And just so that we're clear, no contact means no contact, sir. No direct contact, no contact through social media, no contact through third persons. If this court receives a report that you have made contact with either of these persons, this court could consider it a violation of your bond, revoke your bond, and you can spend the remainder of this case in custody. Understood?
Yes.
Your next hearing in this case will be April 13th, 2022, 8:30 a.m. with Judge Green, and that will be courtroom number 3. Again, Huron Township, this case number is 220258 FY. Next court date, April 13th at 8:30 a.m. Anything else, Mr. Adams?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. I believe there's a discovery order in the file, and we would ask the court to sign that.
That is already signed. It will go back downstairs for processing. A copy will be forwarded to your attention.
Thank you. Your Honor, will the court be making any orders regarding firearms? I'm not asking for them. It's just that my fear was that they might show up on a piece of paper that I didn't see.
There's a comment on the bond recommendation that says still has firearms registered to him, not in our possession. I don't know, Huron, if that means that you're requesting that Mr. Scherer surrender guns or that guns be seized.
We just wanted you to be aware that we don't have all the firearms registered to him, as long as you're aware of that, Your Honor. That he still has firearms, we believe, probably somewhere in his house or something of that nature.
But you're not requesting that he surrender them or that Huron be allowed to secure them, I think is Mr. Adams' question.
You know, if we could get that, that would be great, but at this point, we don't have any firearms in our possession. I would just be aware that we don't have them.
Thank you. That's fine. Then I will counsel my client about that, independent of a court order. I just didn't want there to be a court order that I didn't counsel him on.
Well, now that you're asking, you're making me curious, Mr. Adams, is that something that they would have on the pretrial release order? And we have the clerk on here.
Your Honor, I have seen it on other pretrial release orders. In fact, here in lovely Washtenaw County, there's the pretrial release order for a domestic violence case is pre-checked with do not possess any firearms. You know, and because I have not done a lot of domestic violence cases before, Your Honor, I didn't know if that was a practice of your court or not.
Andy?
Judge, we do have it available on the PTR. It is a box that can be checked. It is not automatically checked.
Well, I've now asked Huron about it, and is there a specific request that he not purchase, possess?
Correct. We'd like him not in possession of any firearms.
Thank you. Mr. Adams, that answers the question, so we will check the box. And I don't know, Huron, how do you make arrangements to secure those firearms?
I'm sure he could go ahead and bring them to our police department and he could surrender them here, you know, until the case is resolved.
So no
We will
surprises.
make an
Mr.
arrangement
Adams.
for that, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else, Mr. Adams?
I think I've done enough.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
You know,
Huron.
Your Honor, how long are we going to have to give him until he surrenders the firearms? Is there gonna be like a 24 hours or 48 hours, or how do we go about that?
Well, I would think that he'd be able to do that within 48 hours after he bonds out. I don't know how long it's going to take him to bond out.
Within 48 hours of release, Huron?
Okay,
And Andy will include that. That'll be on the MIT that comes over.
Correct.
Anything else, Mr. Adams?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
you're welcome, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith and Ms. Alvarez.
Hello.
This is 210901 OD. This is State of Michigan, I'm sorry, City of Romulus versus Bianca Alvarez.
Good morning, Your Honor. May it please this honorable court, Marvin Smith on behalf of Mrs. Alvarez.
State your name for me, please, ma'am.
Bianca Alvarez.
Thank you. Today is the day and time set for sentencing in this matter. Parties were last here on February 17, 2022, at which time Ms. Alvarez entered a plea of guilty to the reduced charge of operating while visibly impaired. This court referred the matter to the probation department for interview and a sentence recommendation. Mr. Smith, have you had the opportunity to review that recommendation with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you find that report to be factually accurate, sir?
Yes, it's accurate. There's no deletions. It does state that she's treating with this entity called Team Wellness, and that includes a psychiatrist, a medical doctor, and substance abuse treatment. And in addition to that, she has treated with Dr. Sylvia Hallowell, who has tested her, I believe, three times.
4. I was tested on Thursday.
Thursday.
And
So
this court
she's,
we did receive on April 1st, 2022, notation from the care coordinator from Team Wellness Center confirming Ms. Alvarez's work to date with them.
so Judge, we don't have any dispute with the recommendations from probation, but because she's really been in outpatient treatment, we're asking for credit for those 6 months since October that she's being tested and under the care of 3 different doctors.
Anything else, Mr. Smith?
Somehow there was an issue with her driver's license, but she did cooperate. This was a situation where she was unconscious when EMS came. So whatever occurred with Secretary of State was really an administrative error.
May I
because
speak?
She did
Wait
cooperate.
1 second, ma'am.
She was cooperative with the testing and the finding. This doesn't involve alcohol. It was a pill laced with fentanyl.
Now, Ms. Alvarez, what was it you wanted to say?
Yes, ma'am. The problem with the license was in their system. It said on March 11th, I was able to get my restricted driver's license back, but in the Romulus system, they had me under suspension for a year because they said I refused the drug test, which I didn't. And the results are in there.
Ms. Alvarez, I don't see where that is. That's a conversation you might be able to have with our probation department if there's something we need to do on our end. But other than
Yes.
that, was there anything else?
You know, I just wanted to kind of add to Mr. Marvin's, you know, like with this incident, you know, I just wanted to add that it was just like a single time incident, you know, and like based on like my family history, I'm hoping that that's not held against me too much, because like I am like the first person in my family to go to college, and I do work 8 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. I am a nurse, so I was just really hoping that we could possibly get it dismissed so that I could continue. I will continue with my mental health, because that's a personal journey I've got on. But just to keep my life intact, I was just really hoping for like a dismissal.
Ms. Alvarez, there's not a dismissal because you entered a plea in this matter.
Oh, okay.
Was there something else, ma'am?
No, ma'am.
This court has had the opportunity to review both the report recommendation from the probation department along with the police report and the other documents that you submitted. This court will adopt the recommendation of the probation department and place you on 9 months of probation. Court will impose a fine of $300, cost of $300. There's $75 crime victims fee, $200 restitution to the city of Romulus, $50 mandatory state costs, $20 fund fee, oversight costs for the probation department, 24 hours of community service with documentation to the probation department during the length of your probation. You will engage and continue with your substance abuse treatment, continue to follow their recommendations and submit documentation to the probation department. You should not possess, consume any controlled substances without the court's approval with random testing as directed by probation. Ma'am, if we get to the halfway mark of your probation and you've completed all of the other conditions, including paying your fines and costs, your attorney may contact the court and ask for your early discharge from probation.
Okay.
Anything
you.
else, Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing else.
Anything else, Ms. Alvarez?
Nope, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck to you, ma'am. Have a good day.
All right, you as well.
Thanks. Thanks, Judge.
Good to see you, Mr. Smith.
Judge, the file for Mr. McKenzie is on the way up to you now.
Thank you. No response from Mr. Mays?
No, ma'am.
That is very unusual. Good morning, Romulus.
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you?
I am wonderful, sir. How have you been?
I can't complain. I just got back from vacation, so it's my Monday.
Is that why you look tan and relaxed?
That's one of the reasons.
I'm so jealous, but okay.
Oh, you're good. Just have a seat. Yep. When she's ready. Yep. When she's ready, she'll call you.
Mr. Jadal, I'm just waiting for the physical file.
Understood.
Hey, Momo.
Hi, Barbara. I love you.
I love you too, Mom. It's the same
Ma'am?
pair. I love you. I love you. 1,000 times.
Ma'am, in order for you to be an observer, it means you have to remain silent. Put your
Yes,
phone
ma'am.
on mute, please.
My bad. My,
No, it's Mr. McKenzie, it's fine.
by the way, good morning, Your Honor.
There was a woman in a long sleeve, I think purple shirt. that now
That's
put
me,
the
Your
phone
Honor,
down.
Jillian Downey.
Miss Downey, how are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I am wonderful. Mr. Nunley was on earlier. He had court in another building. So if you
Okay.
would sit tight, when we see him pop back on, we'll get your case caught and get you on your way.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Ma'am, who just signed
And
on.
with the USA sweatshirt? Yes, ma'am, with the USA sweatshirt on, with the mask on your chin, your name, please. Hello.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, sir.
That's, are you on?
Nope, I'm on.
If I tell you that's.
Lieutenant Harris, thank you. Let's correct that. Let's just
Yes.
not make up titles. This is 220260 FY. This is State of Michigan versus Andrew Stephen McKenzie.
Respectfully, Your Honor, Sam Bridgetala, P62186, appearing on behalf of Mr. McKenzie, who's currently on phone via the Romulus Police Department.
State your name for me, please, Mr. McKenzie.
Andrew McKenzie.
Thank you. Today is the day and time set for the felony arraignment in this matter. There's count 1, unlawful imprisonment. Count 2, assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder. Count 3, assault with dangerous weapon. Count 4, assault with a dangerous weapon. Count 5, malicious destruction of fire or police property. Count 6, police officer assaulting, resisting, obstructing. Count 7, domestic violence. Second offense notice. Mr. Jadala, for purposes of arraignment, how are we proceeding this morning?
Your Honor, for purposes of arraignment, we waive formal reading and stand mute. Mr. McKenzie understands what he's being charged with as well as the possible penalties. I've gone over his rights. He does understand those, Your Honor. At this time, we're respectfully requesting court-appointed counsel for further proceedings.
Thank you. There is a petition for a court-appointed attorney attached to the front of your file. Mr. McKenzie, the court has signed that order for a court-appointed attorney. You will have counsel with you going forward. The court's clerk was also kind enough to attach a copy of another case that you have that's scheduled for April the 7th
Yes, ma'am.
at 10:50 with Judge Green. That's a misdemeanor file. We'll put that on the side. There is a recommendation from the City of Romulus Police Department that Mr. McKenzie's bond be set at $100,000 per charge.
Counselor.
And they be placed on an alcohol tether and a GPS tether. Mr. Jadala, what say you as to this recommendation? Mr. Jadala, you're on mute, sir.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Your Honor, from what I understand, Mr. McKenzie is 26 years old. He does have his mother here, Your Honor, that's supporting him. He is not on probation or parole. He has no holds or warrants. From what I understand, Your Honor, he needs mental health and drug treatment, and his family, as well as he has taken some steps in order to get that treatment, Your Honor. We understand the recommendations, and I've gone over those with my client, Your Honor, and we just ask if this court would perhaps give a bond where he can be released only into mental health treatment, if that's possible.
Please, I'm willing to take the steps, right? Your Honor, may I say something? Only
Mr.
about,
McKenzie, the court will caution you from saying anything regarding the charges that are currently at issue. Mr. Jadal, I'm looking at your client's criminal history and have some concerns about public safety in this matter. This court will not adopt a recommendation from the police department, but based on the seriousness of the allegations, court will set his bond at $50,000, 10%. The next appearance and sorry, and will include the GPS tether. Mr. McKenzie is not to purchase, possess, consume alcohol or drugs or controlled substances during the period during the pendency of this matter. The next hearing date in this case will be April the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Again, the file number is 220260FY. April 13th, 8:30 a.m. with Judge Green in courtroom number 3.
Your Honor, my mom had a question by chance.
I'm not sure if when the parties appear for that PCC, they want to discuss mental health treatment in lieu of anything else. I'm sorry. Ms. Elmore, you have your hand up.
Take it off mute, Mom. Take it off mute. The mute button. Hit join in. Hit the microphone, Mom, and hit join. But in some sense of things, Your Honor, I would like to say I have
Mr.
already made it.
McKenzie,
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Hello.
ma'am.
Is there any way we could just possibly get him in mental health going or some type of drug rehab instantly? Can we just like get
Ma'am,
them from the jail straight to mental health, and then from there they can pick him up and then get tethered when he gets out?
Ma'am, that's something that can be discussed when the prosecutor is present on the 14th. Right now, this court only has Mr. McKenzie and his attorney. I'm sorry, I said the 14th, the hearing's on the 13th. When Mr. McKenzie is back before the court on April the 13th at 8:30 a.m., that's something that could be discussed when the prosecutor is present. Anything else, Mr. Jadala?
Thank you, Judge. Nothing further, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, no, there should be a no contact with Janora Dinwiddie.
And we have no objection. I've explained that to him, Judge.
Thank you. Unless there's anything else, Romulus,
No, Your Honor.
we're all set April 13th with Judge Green.
All right, thank you so much. Love you, Mama.
Love
Thank
you
you.
too.
Bye in a minute.
Tiana. Ma'am, is your last name Freeman?
Oh, okay, I'm unmuted.
Your last name, please.
Freeman?
Ms. Freeman, your sentencing was scheduled at 8:45 a.m. What happened to you, ma'am?
I actually forgot all about it, honestly. I was taking my grandmother to her doctor's appointment. That's where I'm currently at right now.
Hello?
Yes.
Ms. Freeman, are you ready to proceed or are you in the middle of doing something else?
I'm actually in the middle of caring for my grandmother.
So what did you want to do about your sentencing?
Well, I'm here, so I mean, I would like to proceed, but
This is 21BL008480D. This is City of Belleville versus Tiana Freeman. State your name for me, ma'am.
Tiana Freeman.
Ms. Freeman, today is the day and time set for your sentencing. You were before this court on February 17, 2022 for operating while intoxicated. That matter was pled down to operating while visibly impaired. This court sent the matter to the probation department for interview and sentence recommendation. The court has received that recommendation from the probation department along with, and has reviewed that along with the police report in this matter. Ma'am, have you reviewed the recommendation from the probation department?
Yes, correct.
Were there any additions, corrections, or deletions that you wanted to make or make the court aware of?
No, not at the time.
Were you ready to proceed with sentencing?
Yes.
Is there anything you'd like to say on your own behalf before the court imposes a sentence in this matter?
No.
Ms. Freeman has indicated the court did review the police report, and at the time of your arrest, you had a blood alcohol of 0.132, the highest that this court sees this morning. That's the extent of my lecture. The court will impose a fine of $300, cost of $300. There's $75 crime victims fee, $150 restitution to the city of Belleville. It's $50 state cost, $20 fund fee. The probation department has indicated that they do not wish you to be put on probation. The court will not put you on probation. You'll be sentenced to 24 hours of community service at a nonprofit organization with documentation to be submitted to the probation department. You have 6 months to complete that community service. If you do not have a nonprofit organization where you are able to do that community service, you can contact the court's probation department and they can provide a list of possible places for you to complete that term of
Okay.
service hours. Ma'am, your total fines and costs in this matter will be $895. Are you able to pay that within the next 5 days?
No, I'm not.
Are you able to make a payment of $100 in the next 5 days?
Yes, I'm able to do that.
$100 by April the 9th, 2022, and then $100 a month until your fines and costs are paid off. Anything else, Ms. Freeman?
No, not at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good luck to you. Have a good day.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nunley.
Hey, Judge.
Hey, this is 21BL00724A. This is City of Belleville versus Jillian Sarah Downey.
Royce Nunley appearing on behalf of the defendant. This is the date and time scheduled for sentencing. We did receive a copy of the pre-sentence investigation report. We reviewed it. We have no additions, deletions, or corrections to the report, and we are ready to proceed.
Ms. Downey, state your name for the record, ma'am.
Jillian Sarah Downey.
Thank you. Mr. Nunley.
Yeah, we've gone over the report and we don't have any objections. We would just ask the court to adopt the recommendation made by the probation department and just oppose the fines and costs and not place her on probation.
I made an error. I told Ms. Freeman she had the highest blood alcohol, but actually it was Ms. Downey with 0.17. Ms. Downey, I don't lecture. I just am concerned when someone has that kind of blood alcohol and they're driving the same streets that the rest of us drive. But the probation department indicates that this is your first drinking and driving offense. I hope that it was an anomaly in your behavior.
Yeah, it's very rare that I have not drank since that date, and I barely drank before then. It was just a very bad call, and I apologize. I wouldn't appreciate anyone driving on the road with my son either, so I get it.
The court will adopt the recommendation of the probation department and not place you on probation, ma'am, but the court will impose fines of $300, cost of $300. There's $75 crime victims fee. There's $150 restitution to the city of Belleville, $50 mandatory state cost, $20 fund fee, 24 hours of community service to be completed within 6 months. That community service will be to a nonprofit with documentation submitted to the probation department. If there is not a nonprofit that you normally volunteer with, the probation department is able to provide you a list of places where you may go to complete that community service. Ma'am, the total fines and costs will be $895. Are you able to pay that within the next 5 days?
Can I do what the previous client did, the 100 a month? I can do the first 100 in the first 5 days.
I'll make that notation in the file. That will be your payment plan going forward. Anything else, Mr. Nunley?
Nothing further, Judge. Thank you.
Anything else, Ms. Downey?
No, thank you, Mr. Nunley, and thank you, Judge.
No problem.
Good luck to you, ma'am. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, you too.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Jermaine Taylor.
Mr. Taylor, I was just about to say something back to you. My office
I'm
called and left a
sorry.
message with Mr. Mays, and we haven't heard back from him.
Okay. Yeah, I was in a conference call when I did see the message, but I'm sorry I was unable to respond at the moment.
That's okay.
Are we rescheduling or?
We will reschedule. I don't penalize someone because their attorney's not present. We'll find out what happened with Mr. Mays. I don't have my next sentence date out here with me, but we will get that. It will be emailed to you the same way that today's date was sent to you, okay?
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
That's okay. If Mr. Mays contacts this court, I'm here until 4 o'clock. If we can get you back on for sentencing today so we can resolve this matter, we will, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Thanks.
You too.
Good morning, Van Buren. Do you have Mr. McCauley?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to put him into a breakout room, and as soon as the attorney is on, I will get them in together to speak prior to arraignment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Gotta have it. Can't imagine that they would be doing.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is 220259FY. This is State of Michigan versus Jason McCulley. Have your appearances, please.
Respectfully, Your Honor, Sam Ridgidala, P62186, appearing on behalf of Mr. McCulley. Your Honor, for purposes of today's arraignment, we waive formal reading and stand mute. Mr. McCulley understands what he's being charged with, as well as the possible penalties. I've gone over his rights. He does understand those. We're also respectfully requesting court-appointed counsel moving forward.
Thank you. Would you state your name for me, please, sir? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Van Buren? I'm not sure. Mr. McCulley, are you able to hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Were you able to hear Mr. Jadala earlier?
Were you able to speak with your attorney earlier, with the attorney?
Yes, I did.
Thank
Samir.
you. Attached to the front of the file was a petition for a court-appointed attorney. Mr. McCulley, the court has signed that. Mr. Jadala is with you today for the arraignment on this felony. He's waived the formal reading and you're standing mute to the charges against you. There is a recommendation from Van Buren that Mr. McCulley's bond be set at 5,000, 10%, that he not return to 6470 Denton Road in Van Buren Township, and that he have no contact with the complainant in this case. Mr. Jadala, your comment as to bond in this matter.
Your Honor, I've gone over the bond recommendations of my client, Your Honor. Your Honor, at this time, I've explained to him that in order for him to gain any of his personal property, he'd need to request a civil standby. He understands that by requesting a civil standby, he will be able to retrieve some of his property. He understands that there's going to be a do not return order, and he's going to make arrangements to stay at his sister's home or at his parents' home, Your Honor. He's not on probation or parole. He has no holds or warrants. He's been incarcerated for 2 days now. We'd ask if this court would respectfully request a personal bond, Your Honor. His last matters were back in 2000, more than 22 years ago.
Thank you, Mr. Jadala. The court did review the criminal history and note that the last contact would have been in September 2000. For that reason, the court will set his bond at 5,000 personal. Mr. McCulley, you do not need to post any money, but what you cannot do during the pendency of this case is return to 6470 Denton Road in Van Buren Township and not have contact with Tanya McCulley. No contact means no contact, no direct contact, no contact through social media, no contact through third parties. If this court receives a report that if you have made efforts to contact her, it could be viewed as a violation of your bond condition. Your bond could be revoked and you could spend the pendency of this case in custody. You will be able to talk to the Van Buren Township Public Safety Department to make arrangements to get the possessions sufficient for you to operate while this case remains pending and until there has been a further order of the court. Your next appearance date in this matter will be on April the 13th, 2022 at 9:15 a.m. That will be in courtroom number 3 with Judge Green. Van Buren Township will give you that written information before you leave today. Again, that file number is 220259 FY. Next appearance date of April the 13th at 9:15 a.m. Anything else, Mr. Jadala?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Anything else, Van Buren?
No.
Thank you. Mr. McCully, good luck to you, April 13th with Judge Green.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mays.
Good morning, Your Honor. I did not receive notice of this. Mr. Taylor contacted me while I was teaching my forensic science class, and I went, oh, no. So I don't have a copy.
210-335-OD, City of Romulus versus Jermaine Taylor. You said you did not have a copy of the PSI?
No, I do not, Your Honor. And I went through my emails, so I was looking for it.
Oh, Mr. Mays, this is the second time this has happened in recent memory. I'm not sure what
Right.
happened.
I don't know if they're just emailing these or what they're doing at the probation department, but I mean, I've got my calendar locked solid. It is up to date and everything is there. So
I don't have my next sentence date. What I indicated to Mr. Taylor was that I would not, this court doesn't penalize him for so
Yeah,
you want us to email it to you and reschedule?
no.
or do you wanna come back
Let's
on
not
today?
reschedule. Mr. Taylor, where you at? I see unmute
He's
and
here.
put yourself on video. There you go.
How's it
So
going?
we don't want to put this off, Your Honor. What is the recommendation though?
The recommendation from Stephen Hicks is that he not be placed on probation, fines, costs, state costs, victims fund, $200 restitution to Romulus, and 24 hours of community service.
That is good, Judge. And I wanted to also make sure a ticket was issued just a few weeks ago that the city attorney and I discussed, indicating that Mr. Taylor was driving without a valid license, and his license was in fact valid at the time. It was on the 625G permit. The officer got confused, and I just wanted to make sure that that was also dismissed.
That is a different case. I believe you're referring to 22RP 00592.
Yes, Your Honor. And the prosecutor and I talked about it after the last pretrial, and he indicated that he would dismiss it.
Give me one moment, Mr. Mays.
Thank you, Judge.
I see that ticket issued on February 25th, 2022. Does that sound about right, Mr. Taylor?
That's correct.
I'm not showing it as dismissed, Mr. Mays. You might want to
Okay.
follow up with Mr. Greca about
All
it.
right. All right.
Let me-
In
hold
that
on one
case,
second.
Your Honor, we're prepared for sentencing if you're prepared to adopt that recommendation by Mr. Hicks.
I am. Is there anything you'd like to say on behalf of your client, sir?
No, Your Honor, this is not going to happen again. Right, Mr. Taylor?
That's correct.
Thank you. And Mr. Taylor, at .166 BAC was not the highest AC this court saw this morning. That's an aside more than anything else. Mr. Taylor, the court will adopt the recommendation from the probation department, assess a fine of $300, cost of $300, $75 crime victims, $50 mandatory state cost, $20 fund fee, $200 in restitution to the city of Romulus, and 24 hours of community service to be completed within 6 months with a nonprofit organization. You can do it down there where you live and just submit that proof of the community service hours to the probation department.
Okay.
And for your fines and costs, sir, will you be able to pay that within 5 days, or do you need a payment plan?
Can we work out a payment arrangement?
Mr. Taylor, you can go onto the court's website, mi34thdistrictcourt.com, and there's a drop-down contact us button for you to submit a request for a payment plan.
Okay, thank you so much.
Anything else, Mr. Mays?
No, thank you very much, Your Honor. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr.
Thank you, Your
Taylor,
Honor.
thank you for reaching out to Mr. Mays, and thank you for your patience this morning, sir. Have a good
Yeah,
day.
thank you.
You too. Thank you. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Andy, it is 11:10 by my clock. Is there anything else in the hopper?
We do not have anything else. We're all done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Well, Mary Ann, that concludes our morning.
Okay, I'm gonna take us down because our trials, is our trial Zoom this afternoon?
Our trial is live at 1 o'clock.
Okay, thanks. I'm gonna take us
Okay,
down.
thank you, ma'am.